Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, May 24th. And we are looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and SPY. Whoa. You know what? For a small range, and it was a small range, only 294. Really interesting day, really good opportunities. I turned neutral in the market in K period. I had a great day up until that point, made 48 points on both sides of the market. A good majority of it was short early. Then I took some longs as we continually couldn't make lower lows. You know, one of the things I tell my traders in the room, A ripped down, B got good distance. But here's a nuance. C couldn't get away from B, D couldn't get away from C. In fact, the next 9 time frames got below B's low every time, but only went down 4 or 5 points. That's it. Nuances. Tremendous absorption at 41.20. One of the biggest volume pocs I've seen. It was over 42,000 contracts in ES. 12 wide in SPY, 11 wide in ES. Now the question is this long-term money that was absorbing down here? Again, we'll never know, but it's something we have to consider because sellers absolutely got absorbed there and below there had no interest. We were very close to taking out another weekly low and a poor low, a weekly low, and then maybe getting into that island reversal gap from back on May 5th. Look at what NQ does. NQ gaps lower after a triple distribution day down, gets into the 17th trend day, but actually holds it by about 5 points, rips apart shorts, but doesn't fill the gap. So they end 11 wide, still hold a small gap, still have a triple distribution day from yesterday above, and they're still holding the trend day from the 17th. Righty. Gaps lower, never sees the opening. Back into balance on the daily. Just misses a 13 wide perfect POC by mere ticks here in M period. We had to get to H, couldn't get it. So they just missed their perfect POC. For us, M period gets into the gap. Now I told the room as M was starting, one of two things will happen, maybe both. I said we're either going to fill this gap or we're going back to POC. Well, I'll be honest with you, once we got into the gap, I thought the odds of filling the gap were pretty good. But then when we got rejected and got back down below the opening and L's high, again, should I have taken a short? Probably, because the odds of going back to that opening were great, as they just smacked all the momentum buyers and took it right back down to point of control. But again, when I have a day like that, 48 points, 99 points so far on the week, you know, K period putting me neutral. They took out J's low, couldn't do anything. I'm like, they're trying down here, but it's not working. So I'm not surprised we pushed higher. We didn't see the opening again till L period. We have now taken out both sides of the IB. Today was the 34th time out of 99 trading days. So that's 34.3% of the time. We failed at a trend day down. So we're 16 out of 50. So that's 32% that trend day downs have held. We did hold the downside gap, so that's 5 out of 21. So that's 23.8%. So unlike yesterday, we held the downside gap. Now, the range is not in our top 10 smallest, but didn't miss it by much. 280 is our 10th smallest range. We got 294. Most of my trades in the morning were on the short side. Why? Because the market was telling us sellers had everything in their favor. I made 4.5 points in A on shorts, 13 points in B, 10 points in C. D period, I actually shorted it, took some heat and added a D's high, made 9 points on that. So A through D, I made 4, 17, 20, 36 and a half points. So most of my day was A through D on shorts. I made 2 points in E because, again, we weren't getting much distance away. So I took a long near E's low for 2 points. I took a long in with F because I didn't think we'd go trend for 2.5 points. And I took a long in H saying I think we're going to stop the one-time framing, which we did for 3 points. I did take a short in I, thinking it might be an afternoon rally high. I made 4 points on that, and that was it. I didn't do anything in J, and then, like I said, I turned neutral in K. So, again, I'm very happy with how the day went. NQ is still very healthy on the monthly, weekly, but they are down on the daily now. Let's go over our destinations, and then we'll look at our charts. So in SPY, for the upside, we have today's high at 412.82, and then filling the gap at 413.68. Now inside of that gap is the 20-day moving average, which will show you where it is when we do the charts. Above that, there's nothing until what you should have everything from yesterday, the single prints and everything. For the downside, 410.98 is 12 wide for SPY, and then today's low is 409.88. In ES, the downside is 25.25. They're only 11 wide. Okay? Then they have today's, oh, and by the way, SPY's low is poor today, as is ES. So that's another thing. We have poor lows. ES has today's, they have the pocket 25.25, 11 wide. Then they have 14, which is today's low and poor. 11.75 is a weekly low, poor. And then 11.50 is a daily low, and then going to fill the reversal gap at 98.25. That's weak against the other weekly low. Talk about targets. So again, it'll be interesting to see. It was very fascinating. When we kept getting below 20, I'm like, well, you know what? We're right near those other two weekly poor lows and weekly low. Couldn't get it. Tremendous absorption at the 40 level. And then quickly on the chart. So here's our monthly. We have 4 trading days to go in the month. Last month was the smallest range in 40 months, yet we're still inside of it. We have taken out both sides of it, so everything is on the table as far as an outside month up or an outside month down. Still balanced, and right now a failure above February's high. The weekly has now come into balance. I said that was very important for me to hold that for buyers. Well, they didn't. How big is the balance? Well, considering we're just starting it, it depends. If we don't go much lower the next 2 days, it'll be a 3-week balance. We get more extension, we'll incorporate this whole thing as an 8-week balance. But for sure, it's in balance. And the daily is firmly down. The gap is my main focus. We're below the 20 and above the 50. The 20 closed at 413.05, so it's inside of today's gap. Volume right now, 85 million, not bad. I know NVIDIA earnings were coming out. I don't know if they did yet. If they did, there's certainly not much price movement because it's trading basically inside the range that it had throughout the day. So I don't know if they came out yet. Tomorrow we do have GDP at 8:30. Friday we have PCE at 8:30. Fed minutes didn't really do anything today, so it was a waste of time basically waiting between 12 and noon. Thanks for the likes and subscribing. I hope you had a good day trading. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.